Imagine inheriting your uncle's serene Texas ranch, only to find a self-appointed HOA queen has turned your private lake into her personal cash cow, complete with illegal docks, stolen water, and bogus fees raking in $149,000. Then she calls the cops on you for trespassing on your own damn property. The flashing blue lights cut through the night like a bad dream, turning a simple family campfire into a circus of entitlement and lies. And right there, clipboard in hand, stands the architect of it all, her perfect suburban facade cracking as the deputy reads the deed that flips her world upside down. The red and blue strobes danced across the still waters of Willow Lake like some twisted holiday light show, but this was no celebration. I stood there, hot dog skewer in one hand, watching Deputy Ramirez pull up with all the urgency of a man who'd rather be home watching the game. My daughter, Sophie, 13 and sharper than most adults, froze mid-bite on her S-more, her eyes wide as saucers. "Dad, what's happening? Are we arrested?" she whispered, her voice a mix of fear and that teenage defiance that made me proud. Our golden retriever, Max, let out a low whine, hackles up, sensing the bullshit before it even hit the fan. This was supposed to be our first real weekend on the land I'd inherited from Uncle Joe 6 months back, a quiet slice of Texas heaven where I'd spent summers learning to skip stones and bait hooks. But now, here came the law, summoned by who knows what nosy neighbor, treating us like squatters on our own turf. From the shadows of the oak trees emerged Barbara Klein, the HOA president of Elmwood Estates, striding forward like she owned the place, which, in her deluded mind, she probably thought she did. She was the picture of suburban supremacy, pearl necklace gleaming under the patrol lights, khaki capris pressed to perfection, and that infamous clipboard clutched like a scepter. "Officer," she announced in that saccharine tone that screamed, "I'm in charge here. These interlopers have been squatting on community property for days. We've got rules, for the greater good." The way she spat "interlopers" made it sound like we'd crashed her garden party with pitchforks. Behind her, I could just make out the glossy wooden pier jutting into the lake, complete with fancy benches and a sign reading, "Elmwood Community Retreat, members only," that hadn't been there in my childhood memories. Sophie, bless her tech-savvy soul, already had her phone out, recording discreetly. "This is gold for TikTok," she muttered under her breath. I kept my cool. Years of running a small plumbing business teaching me that hotheads lose every time. "Deputy, this is Miller family land. Been in our name since '92. We're just camping." I reached into my backpack, Uncle Joe's old Army surplus one, and pulled out the folder, deed, will, tax stubs, all stamped and sealed. Barbara's eyes narrowed, her lips pursing like she'd sucked on a lemon. "Oh, please," she huffed, flipping open her clipboard with a flourish. "Joe Miller gave us verbal permission ages ago. We've invested sweat equity here, dock maintenance, picnic areas, family events. It's all documented in our minutes." She waved a sheaf of papers, each one a testament to her little empire. But her voice had that edge, like she was reciting a script she'd rehearsed in front of her bathroom mirror. Deputy Ramirez took my docs, radioed in for confirmation. The wait was agonizing, Max pacing between us, his tail low. When the dispatch crackled back, confirmed, full ownership to Alex Miller, no shared rights, Barbara's face did this hilarious shift from smug to stunned, like a cartoon villain realizing the anvil's about to drop. But we've been good stewards," she stammered. her pearls suddenly looking like they were choking her. Joe was elderly. He appreciated the company. Yeah, right. Appreciated being exploited while his health faded. I could feel the tide turning, that sweet moment where her mask slipped just a hair. Flashback 24 hours, and the drive down that dusty county road felt like coming home. Sophie bounced in the passenger seat of my old Ford pickup, Max's head out the window catching the breeze. "Dad, owning a lake? That's like being a king," she exclaimed, her excitement infectious. Uncle Joe had been a reclusive mechanic, tinkering in his garage till the end, rarely venturing to the lake in his later years. I'd visit as a kid, him teaching me engine repairs by the water's edge. "Land's your legacy, Alex," he'd gruff. "Don't let bureaucrats nibble it away." The cabin was just as I remembered. Weathered logs, creaky porch, a time capsule of simpler days. But as we hiked the shoreline, the changes hit like a gut punch. A fancy dock with LED lights, probably $10,000 easy. A pavilion with grills and tables, wired for power. Trails with signs directing to community fishing spots. Max sniffed everything suspiciously, whining at the foreign scents. "Why's it look like a park, Dad?" Sophie asked, kicking a gravel path that screamed recent install. I didn't have an answer yet, but my plumber's eye spotted the real red flag. Buried pipes snaking from the lake toward the subdivision, hidden but humming with flow. Someone was siphoning water, my water. A friendly voice broke the silence. "Alex Miller? Is that you, old Mrs. Thompson?" A neighbor from way back, waved from her fence line. "Joe would be tickled you're here. Barbara's done wonders with the lake, cleanup crews, kid programs. Turned it into a real gem." Her words landed like lead. "Wonders," I echoed, forcing a smile. Back at the cabin, digging through Joe's old desk, I found a crumpled note. "Barb, okay for you and kids to fish Sundays. Keep it low-key. Joe, 2018. A neighborly nod, not a blank check for takeover. Online sleuthing revealed the HOA's site, Willow Lake Access, $20/month/family. Enjoy our exclusive amenities, photos of barbecues, yoga sessions on my land. Math added up quick. 60 families, 5 years, over $72,000 in fees alone, not counting water sales I suspected. As dusk fell, cars rolled in, families unpacking like it was public property. Laughter echoed, kids splashed. Sophie whispered, "This is weird, Dad." Then Barbara approached, clipboard at ready. "Evening. Community hours are posted. You a member?" Her smile was all teeth, no warmth. The irony burned. She was grilling me on my own dirt. I played dumb, nodding along as she lectured on preserving neighborhood harmony. Inside, I seethed. This was no harmony. It was highway robbery dressed in bylaws. Rumors had already started buzzing. Sophie showed me the neighborhood Facebook group. "Strangers camping at the lake? Call Barbara." Posts painted me as some shady outsider, bashing my neglect of the land. I bit my tongue, watching, waiting. Knowledge was my weapon, patience, my shield. The whispers turned to shouts over the next weeks. I set up a temporary fence, nothing fancy, just posts and wire to mark boundaries. Barbara's emails flooded in, "Mr. Miller, this disrupts our established use." Joe would be appalled. Appalled? At reclaiming his legacy. Sophie fielded calls from concerned neighbors. Your dad's stirring trouble. The lake's for everyone. Lies spread like wildfire. I was the greedy heir, hoarding what belonged to the community. At the grocery store, stares followed. One lady muttered, "That Miller guy's ruining everything." I smiled through it, documenting every infraction. Photos of pipes, screenshots of fees, water meter readings showing massive diversion. One evening, as Sophie and I grilled burgers, a delegation arrived, Barbara leading, flanked by her cronies. "Alex," she said, voice dripping false concern. "Let's talk like civilized folks." The HOAs invested $40,000 in improvements. "Surely you see the value in shared access." Her eyes flicked to Max, who growled softly. "And that dog. Leash laws apply here." I leaned on my spade. Casual. "Improvements on my land? Without a scrap of paper? Sounds like squatting to me." She bristled, clipboard snapping shut. "Joe implied consent." "We've minutes proving it." "Implied?" The word hung like a bad joke. Sophie, recording again, chimed in innocently. "But Dad owns it, right? Like, legally." Barbara's glare could curdle milk. "Young lady, respect your elders." Tensions simmered as I hired a surveyor. Results: every community feature squarely on Miller property. I shared politely via certified mail, "Please remove encroachments." Barbara's response? A town hall meeting, where she rallied the troops. "This outsider threatens our way of life," she thundered to cheers. Posts exploded. "Boycott the Miller Tyrant." I stayed silent, but inside, plotted. Hired a PI quietly. Discovered Barbara's maintenance fund. Padded her vacations. Water sold to local farms for profit. $149,000 total skimmed. Disguised as community enhancements. The black humor hit. She preached order while running a racket. False alarms escalated. Anonymous tips to code enforcement about my unsafe cabin. Inspectors showed. Found nada. Then, animal control. Reports of aggressive dog. Max, the fluffball? Laughable. Sophie laughed through tears. "They're so desperate. It's pathetic." I nodded, biding time. One night, motion cams caught shadows. Barbara's crew tampering with pipes, boosting flow. "For the pools," one whispered. Theft, plain as day. The boilover came when I disconnected the main line. Legally, with permits. Next morning, HOA lawns browned. Pools dropped. Panic ensued. Barbara stormed over. "Vandalism. I'll sue." I crossed arms. "On my property? Good luck." She dialed 911 right there. Voice hysterical. "Trespasser destroying infrastructure." Cops arrived again. But this time, I had the folder plus PI report. Deputy Ramirez's eyes widened at the evidence. "Ma'am, this is private land. You're the one diverting." Barbara's face, priceless, red as a beet, stammering nonsense about community rights overriding deeds. The crowd gathered, murmuring. One neighbor snorted, "Barb, you said it was ours." As cuffs clicked. "Obstruction. Fraud. Theft," Barbara wailed. "I built this for you all." But the mask shattered, her morals exposed as greed. Neighbors turned. "You stole from us too?" Laughter mixed with outrage. The sweet gotcha moment. She lost her home to restitution, banned from HOAs forever. We reclaimed the lake, offering limited access fairly. Sophie summed it, "Karma's a plumber, fixing leaks." The climax hit like Texas thunder that midnight. I'd installed floodlights after the tampering incidents. Smart move. They snapped on, catching Barbara and her sidekick, Bob the treasurer, in the act. She wielded bolt cutters like a deranged gardener, slicing through pipes while Bob shoveled documents into a portable fire pit. "Burn it all," she hissed, flames licking HOA ledgers that detailed every stolen gallon, every bogus fee. The air reeked of singed paper and desperation. Max barked furiously from the porch, Sophie filming from the window. "Dad, they're destroying evidence," she yelled. I stepped out, phone to ear already on with 911. "Yeah, intruders vandalizing my property." Barbara spun, eyes wild under the harsh light. This is war. Miller. Joe wasted this land. I improved it." Her voice cracked, the polished facade crumbling into something pathetic, like a queen dethroned mid-rant. Bob froze, papers fluttering. "Barb, stop. This'll make it worse." But she shoved him. "Worse? He's the thief. Hoarding water while our lawns die." The irony dripped thicker than the leaking pipes, her selling my water to landscapers, pocketing thousands, now calling me thief. Deputy Ramirez rolled up quick, lights flashing. "Hands up." Barbara straightened, trying to reclaim authority. "Officer, arrest him for sabotage. These pipes are HOA assets." But Ramirez eyed the charred mess, the cut lines. "On his deed, that's felony destruction." I handed over the PI folder. Invoices for water sales, $60K alone, funneled to her personal fund. Neighbors, drawn by the commotion, gathered. "Mrs. Thompson gasped, "Barb, you said fees went to maintenance." Barbara's retort? "For the community, ungrateful peasants." Laughter erupted, dark, satisfying as cuffs snapped. "I am the HOA," she shrieked. But it sounded ridiculous, like a toddler claiming the sandbox. Court was a slow roast. Barbara's defense? Verbal permissions supersede deeds in spirit. The judge's eye roll was epic. Evidence piled. Falsified minutes. 4 false 911s. Grand larceny. She got 18 months. Served 8. Plus $149,000 restitution. Her McMansion foreclosed. Bought with my lake's profits. Probation. Park cleanup. Vest and all. "Excuse me. Litterbug squirrel, that's a fine." We joke. The HOA dissolved. Reborn voluntary, no fees, just barbecues. I built an education spot, workshops on boundaries, kids learning from Max about territory. Sophie thrived, turning footage into a viral vid. HOA Karen versus real owner. Healing took time. First month. Awkward nods. Property values dipped 12%. 3 months. Apologies trickled. Fishing requests with respect. 6 months. 20 families in fair agreements. $300 yearly total, symbolic. Revocable. Willow Lake shown again. Family haven with neighborly vibes. Uncle Joe's legacy. Not exploitation, but balance. Max knew from day one this was ours. Adults, slower learners. But here's the kicker, was Barbara the real villain? Or just a product of a system that lets clipboard tyrants run wild? True or false? In HOA hell, the biggest crime is believing your rules trump actual laws? Drop your take below. Did she deserve the fall? Or was the community complicit?